Hello, sorry. This wasn't planned in any way. I came to listen tonight, but obviously, as you just heard, Jim Naughty and Jon Snow had to go to Washington. Everyone's going to Washington at the moment. Gordon Brown over there last week doing his Tony Blair 9/11. I'll be with you in your hour of need. It's his second time he's tried to do that. You remember earlier in the year, Gordon Brown flew to Washington to impress everybody, and it didn't quite work out. He was upstaged by the Pope. Which is a bit embarrassing because the Pope was only over there because the euro is doing so well against the dollar. And the Pope, George Bush decided he'd rather have a meeting with the Pope, which would have been great fun to be on the fly on the wall on that one. But it's so good to see you, John Paul.
No, I'm Benedict.
What? You're John Paul III.
No, I'm Benedict XVI.
No, you're just confusing me now. Okay, so how are you doing, Benedict? How's that lovely wife of yours? Anyway, so Gordon Brown was over there, say, last week. Actually, it was after his conference speech when he said, I know who I am, which is great. That's a start. But he had to fly over to Washington because Sarah Palin doesn't have a clue who he is. So he had to meet the vice presidential candidate, and it's important. But things are bad back home, and. Just want to tell you, today Hank Paulson and Ben Bernanke have upgraded the credit crunch from Category 3 storm to Category 5, which means it's going to affect folks in their buildings, their houses. I happen to know that the White House itself will be repossessed in about 3 months' time by a black guy. I thought the whole point of subprime was that it worked the other way around. So, but in a few months' time, I'll leave the White House, and I happen to believe it'll be the end of an era. I happen to believe it was a great era. I know some folks who said they believe it was the greatest era in the history of the United States presidency. But I'll be handing over, I hope, to an older man, and John McCain and Sarah Palin. I mean, look at that together, because him and Sarah, they look good, so good together, because she's in favor of drilling in Alaska, and John McCain's against. He's in favor of funding stem cell research. She's against. He believes in climate change. She doesn't. So it's what you call a balance ticket, right there. But it's been very interesting. People say, where does she come from? Well, John McCain came to me. He said, where do you think Laura says I should look to find a vice president? And I said, I don't know, Alaska. And but she's a good candidate. If you're going to have a Cold War with Russia, you want to have someone who knows what it's like when it's really cold. She lives next to Russia. When did Russia last invade Alaska? Never, not even close. Yeah, you tell that to the Georgians. Georgian president, Mr. Suck His Willie. Yeah. See, he's a president, he's Georgian. You vote for John McCain, you can get a president who's late Victorian. It's a little English historical joke there. Yeah. But I know there's stuff about her teenage pregnant daughter, but that's the thing with Alaska, you don't have to dig too deep beneath the surface to find the crude stuff. Understand there's going to be a shotgun wedding. Well, that's the whole point. We need to have guns in America, because if you don't have guns in Alaska, you don't have weddings. So let's just be clear. It's been interesting all around. Of course, the Democrat side, Hillary's pulled out of the race, and Bill Clinton is a little bit disappointed.
I was kind of hoping that she would. I was kind of hoping that she'd be out of the house for the next 4 years. I'm afraid I'm going to have to unpick a few arrangements. I'm afraid. So it looks like I'm going to have to take a back seat in the campaign. But let me tell you, there's a lot that I can do on a back seat. People said in my criticism of Barack Obama that I was borderline racist. Let me just say this. You look around the world. You look at the trouble spots in the world. Rwanda, Angola, Zimbabwe. What have those places got in common? A black president. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Look at the name, Obama. That guy is one letter away from being the worst terrorist leader in the... That's all I'm saying. But I know, as Hillary said at the convention, she's going to do everything in her power to get Barack Obama elected. That makes two of us. And I know that given the choice, the Democratic Party chose to go with someone other than Hillary Clinton. That makes two of us. So it's going to be an interesting ride. Let me tell you, the next few weeks could be really, really interesting.
So you don't want to hear me rabbiting on. You want to hear somebody who knows a lot more. And I can tell you, Chris over there, who is... You know, the thing about Chris is we call him Chris, but actually George Bush calls him Keith. Am I right? Because he reminds him of Keith Richards. Rock and roll guy. And he's been following... I was just saying just now that so many people have this image of Bush as a private individual that, a tremendous sense of humor and well, he must have. I invaded Iraq. That's funny. Not for them, but for us. But so this extraordinary man in his private life, and Chris probably has seen more close-up than many of us will ever likely to see of George Bush. Striker, you may know as the London correspondent of Newsweek, fantastic, up to the minute. Just great. Harriet, looking forward to hearing as well. But John is the guy who's got the job of introducing them. I just came along to listen. I'd had 2 glasses of wine in the bar, and they said, would you just go on stage and say a few words? So I said a few words, and if I screwed up, that was entirely in character.